I want to be in school in time for recess. Lang-a-lang-a-lang-a-lang-a-lang, bell ringing. Oh, Lord.
7:25 in Trinidad and Tobago. Traffic backed up on Railway Road in San Juan as it usually is, as elsewhere seems to be moving along as things get ever busier on Wednesday morning, the day before the holiday, the Emancipation Day holiday coming up, and lots of people rushing around doing various things. But we have three guests rushing into studio to join us to talk about a different topic from what we've been focusing on, the whole issue of taking a village to raise a child, because we still involved very much with communities and social activism, because we want to highlight the work of the Roots Foundation, because the work they've been doing across the country has produced much bountiful fruit. Thankfully, the sort of fruit that the pipers can't thief off your tree, in the same way that they raided Ms. Abuka tree last week and left me with nothing but the Roots Foundation. Their fruit, you can't get it as easily as that. They use oral traditions as a catalyst for social change by providing safe spaces for self-expression. They've entered competitions, produced public service announcements on the social ills plaguing the country, and their founder, Mtima Solwazi, is in the process of writing a book that's entitled From Basic to Masters. Well, he's maybe even from the basic, and he's very much a master in his own craft as well. He's here with us, together with two other members of the Roots Foundation. Shineque Saunders is the closest to me. She's a theatre teaching artist. She was a runner-up as well in the National Poetry Slam just a few months ago. Isaiah John, also here with us. He was a finalist in that same competition, and he's also a runner-up in the National Junior Extempo Monarch for 2019. So a tremendous amount of talent here with us, including Mtima as well. Good morning to you all. Thanks very much for joining us. Assalamu alaikum, Mtima. Good to see you once more. Tell us about the continuing work of the Roots Foundation.
Okay, so plus good morning. Nice being here. So what we do at Roots Foundation, as I mentioned, we try to create safe spaces for self-expressions, and we use the oral traditions, right? So what we do, we have three areas we look at. One is festivals. So we host our own festival that you know of, Cascado.
Yeah.
And we also attend the festivals internationally, like Brave New Voices, and recently, Floop in Brazil. We also have interventions, where we go at schools. We have a program called ABBA Senior, a Journey of Change, where we present to young people a different option as what is given to them. So we have two Christians and myself a Muslim share our past lived experiences and social realities, not to tell them, hey, change your life, but as I said, to give them a different option and to tell them the real story behind the glitter and the glamour and the zest and the bling, because there's some horror stories behind that they don't know. They just see this facade, bling, zest, name calling, and feel like that is the life you have to live. And we also do media, something new, where we try to produce public service announcements to address, as I said, social issues and ills within the society.
And if people, before we hear from our other two guests and what they see as their value being part of the Roots Foundation, if people want to get more information or to find where you are at the Roots Foundation, how do they contact you?
So on the social media, you can just look for Roots Foundation TT, because there are many Roots Foundations. Roots Foundation TT, and we located in Chagonas on Ramsaran Street, 93 Ramsaran Street, just after Price Club and before JMMB. And to call us, you could call 230-9573. Okay. That's our office number.
Right, 230-9573, the contact number. Shineque Saunders, tell us about why you see being part of the Roots Foundation as something important to you.
So firstly, I know it would seem funny, but with the Roots Foundation, I'm working with Credo and Nelson. I'm working with some young people in the Beetham Gardens. I'm from South. I'm from Indian Walk. And to be able to come from Princestown, to come up here, to work with young people who are in similar situations like I am, because my father was killed when I was 8. So that's something that I've had to deal with. And working with the Roots Foundation, I was able to process a lot of the things that were going on with me that were unresolved prior to working with them, and now I'm able to help young people who are in this situation. I can tell them, listen, spoken word is a way to go, theatre arts is a way to go, music is a way to go. And it's very, very fulfilling because of where I come from to come up here to work with persons and try to help them to get through things without having to go over these speed bumps that I had to go through in my process, because I didn't have anybody to come and teach me spoken word. I had to do this by trial and error.
And in that regard, I mean, because you have lived that experience, and very, very sad to hear that about your own experience, but good to know that you've been able to come through that very traumatic experience. How effective is it, therefore, to be able to relate to young people who might think that we, the old people, the adults, who have no idea what they've been through, trying to tell them, I know how you feel and all that sort of thing?
I believe it's important that persons closer to their age are the ones talking to them, because I feel like we understand the social climate for us a lot better than, say, Mtima would. He has the experience from years ago, whereas I have it from now, and I know exactly what it is. I know exactly the things people would say about a parent being taken away from a child. People say a lot of hurtful things. And sometimes as adults, it's easy to say, listen, don't take them on, don't this, don't that. But as a young person, knowing what it feels like and knowing what worked for me to deal with it, I feel like that's 100% more effective than just having someone telling you it's going to be okay. Whereas somebody is saying it might not be okay right now, but eventually it gets better.
And that's the advantage of having confident young people with us, that they could sit here and diss the leader of the organization as being old and out of touch with the young people and put him in place right away. Well, you asked for it, you invited them to be with you on the show, Mtima. So let's hear what Isaiah has to offer with us this morning as well. Isaiah, I mean, from your own perspective, what does it mean to you to be part of the Roots Foundation?
Well, I'm from Barataria, which is, you could say, well, although it's not a major hotspot, it's still a place where crime is rampant and it's half crime. Whether it be either murder or like drug activity, there's crime. And for me to come out of my situation at home, and all this different negative vibes, to be in some place positive where you could harness your energy and it could go into different facets of life, whether it be spoken word, extempo, a lot of different things. And what we at the Roots Foundation try to do as teaching artists is not to make the best poem. It's not about who are the best poem. We try to let people express themselves. It's about expression. As Mtima always says, it's not about who could write the best poem. If we get 5 lines in our workshop, that 5 lines is the best lines, because that's all we come for, is expression, for the youth to express themselves and for them to have an avenue to channel their energy in something positive or not negative.
What has that done for you, to actually have that outlet? That outlet, whether it's through spoken word, whether it's through extempo or any form of creative expression, what has that done for you in being able to resolve whatever issues you may have inside?
Well, my mom's passed when I was 13, cancer, and that was hard for me because my mother was my best friend. My mother was my everything. And when she passed, it was kind of a rocky road for me. I used to get into fights a lot of trouble in school. And then I found poetry. So I used to go to poetry clubs, and I find where I could talk about the way I'm feeling in this rather than acting out. So like people can actually hear what I have to say without being like, you're getting loud. As I say, it's expression. And
is that really the essence of the Roots Foundation, to create that avenue?
Yeah, and as Isaiah said, that free expression, and we had this discussion earlier, that spoken gives you that latitude. So we in this conversation here, and if I'm saying, all of us, I just jump out and say, boy, Fazeer, when I was 7 years old, I was molested. Where that come from, right? You may feel sorry for me, you might say, what? But in a poem, I see that same line in a spoken word piece, the reaction will be different. As a matter of fact, there may be somebody in that audience who is listening, might experience that same thing, or know of someone, or may have been the perpetrator. So that is the freedom of spoken word poetry, and that is what we try to do with the young people, give them that opportunity to speak, to share, right, to say what's on their mind. to see how they feel and not don't judge them. You know? Why are you saying that? You know, why didn't say this? No. That's how they feel, that's how they want to express it. You know, and down the road, because we train poets for international competition, became second last year. So there are different levels of engaging young people in terms of that spoken word. But the base level, expression. You know?
Before we hear more from the expressions of Shineque Saunders and dissing Mtima a little bit more, or maybe say something else. When is the book coming out?
Right, so I recently was conferred my master's, right? Well, this year, this month, as a matter of fact. And the same time...
Master's in what area?
Sociology, sorry.
Okay,
sociology.
congratulations.
Yes, thanks. And I took part in a life writing course hosted by the Artist Registry, the Ministry of Community Development, Culture and the Arts. Now, my grandmother always said, write your story, right? Because your life is a book, write it. I didn't know how. And thanks to Barbara Jenkins and Melanie Joseph, I got this opportunity. So hopefully we're looking at our launch in September. It is called From Basic to Masters, because when I left school in 1988, I left with 3 basic grade 3s and 1 grade 2. And you would know, Fazeer, everybody would know, and if you don't know, you know now, that up to 1998, a general grade 3 was not a pass. Right? That became a pass after when they disbanded basic and general.
Right.
So then, why did the system allow young persons like myself at the time to write basic? When at your best, and I get a basic grade 1, it is equivalent to a general grade 3.
Correct.
No pass. So our whole generation from 1979 to 1998, we just produced quote-unquote failures. So I came from that era.
I was always used to wonder about it. What is the point of this basic and general? I used to always wonder about it, but thanks for putting it in perspective.
It's crazy, Fazeer. So I left school with 3 basic 3. I remember those fellas laugh at me. Go and plant it, right? And today, 2019, 31 years after, thank God, I've obtained my master's in sociology and hope to move forward. So this is my story sharing that journey from 88 to now.
And obviously it's not a vanity project. It is to essentially let people know that they can also come out of difficult circumstances or probably even do better than what you've been able to achieve.
And also to speak to the social actors, unlike those we had before. Because why create that system so you set me up to fail and then say, boy, why don't you do something with your life, boy? It's a failure, but you set me up to fail. You know? So we have to take a good look at ourselves and really decide what future do we want. Not for these young people, you know, for their children. You know, for our great-grandchildren. What future do we want for our nation? And
I'm not sure that as a society, we're having that discussion at all.
No.
To any great level. As you mentioned, the conferring of the masters, I want to congratulate you for that. David Mohammed of the Nation of Islam was telling me that he's been conferred with a PhD in his area of study, and hopefully we'll have him on the program in the not too distant future, because there's a significant person coming in sometime next week as well, so we look forward to that. But Shineque, I mean, when you hear Mtima talk about that, about worrying about your children and your grandchildren and so on, are you similarly concerned as to where we're heading as a society? Because the future of the nation is not me and he, you know, it's you all.
Yes. I am concerned, but I'm not as concerned as I should be probably, because I know the potential that we have in Trinidad and Tobago, and especially working with the children that we're working with right now and hearing the things that they have to say and how they say it, how they express themselves. I'm not very worried with regards to where our future is, but what I'm worried about it is who is there to guide it. Because yes, the Roots Foundation, we're doing a lot of work, but there's only so much we can do. You understand? So I'm not worried about the youth and the generation itself. What I'm worried about is how many of us, and that's persons my age, persons Mtima's age, how many of us are willing to take the time. Mtima took time to groom Isaiah and I into teaching artists where we can now impact some younger children. And we are now into doing that. But how many persons within our society are willing to take the time to groom themselves and to groom others to make sure that our future is secure?
7:44 in Trinidad and Tobago. We're going to continue our discussion for a few minutes yet before we get to the top of the hour. But let's take a break, and as we go out to that break, we're going to show you a bit of that video of that work, Abyssinia, that Mtima was talking about a little while ago. We'll go out with that to the break.
By bringing the story of reformed offenders who have started afresh with their own lives. Mtima Solwazi says this journey of change was born out of the desire to help youngsters.
Abyssinia, the journey of change. Why Abyssinia? Two groups of young men killing each other. One calling itself Rasta City, one calling itself Muslim City, and it's entering the schools.
Good morning, students. That's sounding much, much better. Now, let me tell you the thing that I experienced whilst being locked up at 17 years. You know, fairy tale, but when I end up living a life of crime, it was one of the most terrifying and horrible life that I could ever live.
And that man turned and watched everybody laughing and pointing at him and stopped me. I went home and I prayed. That's God. The people get skinny and people get fat. Let's welcome Miss Stacey Ann Becker.
I am Stacey Ann, ex-offender, drug trafficker, ex-prostitute, but I like my children. Let me to never find children.
This is a serious thing.
Do we see career violence? I don't think no young lady on the first sexual encounter will tell you, bring all your friends.
One thing people respond to is respect and love.
What is the purpose of this?
Today, you enter a life of crime, you made a mistake.
.48 in Trinidad and Tobago. Still a few minutes left with our guest from the Roots Foundation, founder and president Mtima Solwazi, who's working on his book that hopefully should be coming out in September, God willing. We'll wait and see. We also have with us Shineque Saunders and Isaiah John, theatre teaching artists as well, outstanding in their own fields of spoken word and in the case of Isaiah as well, extempo in that regard. And we just showed you that video and the name of the project being Abyssinia, and we were talking about it. And Mtima, if people really understand the story of Abyssinia and Muslims being rescued by a Christian king from their own family, did this whole Muslim Rasta city should be non-existent. But anyway, let me not detract from that. You've got an event coming up August the 11th. Tell us about it.
So we have partnered with a company called Homeland Security Defense and Service, Homeland Security Defense Consultancy Services out of New York. It's a guy by the name of Steve Best and his partner Ravi Ramohan. Oh, sorry if I could mispronounce his name there. Right, but two Trinidadians in NYPD, and they have this annual book drive. So this is their second annual book drive. They contacted Roots Foundation, and we are partnering with the ISOS. I support our service, right? And the drive will be on the 11th of August. We're not saying location because we already targeted groups and communities.
Right.
So if you only say location and time,
you know, what will happen.
We have 408 bags to distribute, right? And we have communities from across Trinidad. Unfortunately, we have not been to Tobago with this project, but last year this project was in Tobago. So that's why we're doing it this year in Trinidad. So that's our big project coming up. We also have Cascadoo this year, so supposed to start next week, please God. We're not bringing in any international poets this year. What you want to do, you want to focus on our young teaching artists.
And there's a lot of talent right here.
Yes, and allow them to be the stars and heroes of this year's Cascadoo. We're going to the same places, Credo Foundation, YTRC, which was YTC.
Yeah.
We're going to Nalis, we have our workshop at Nalis and other communities and areas. So, yes, that is what we have right now on the back burner.
And Shineque, from that perspective, that you and of course Isaiah as well, at the very vanguard of this movement, does that create a kind of onerous responsibility on you to be able to deliver in that sense?
Yes, because you have to keep a particular standard. People are now looking up at you. So it gives you a sense of ownership and responsibility. Like, it makes you do things that you would not have done before, simply because you're no longer as comfortable as you were, and you know that there are persons constantly looking at you.
Is that a pressure kind of thing, Isaiah? Because I mean, because you know these days everybody have a phone, everybody looking to see, it can catch people, you know, a little off guard and so on. Is that a little too much to bear?
Honestly, for me, not really, because I guess I'm a people's person, and a lot of people just randomly just gravitate to me and like me. So it's like, I find it weird that someone my age would say, yo, I just look up to you. You know, that's weird for me. But at the end of the day, I had to realize the work that I'm doing. I had to understand this part that I'm going on. This would be the response of people, and I have to deal with it somehow.
Indeed, and congratulations to you both for your work and your continued work, and congratulations Mtima as well for all you've been able to achieve with the Roots Foundation and indeed with your academic success. And let's hope all is well with the coming out of the book as well. Just remind everybody the contact information for the Roots Foundation, please. So
social media, Roots Foundation TT, and you can call the office at 230-9573, or my number is 272-6916.
All right, so you have all the contact information there, and indeed a lot more being done by Roots Foundation and other organizations with a real desire to look forward for Trinidad and Tobago, to help the young people and empower them in a real sense, in a real positive sense. We'll take a break and continue here on Morning Edition.
Again.